Hey, good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in again this morning. So, listen, I'm kind of afraid I might be misunderstood here at the beginning. So, I really want you to listen and hopefully I can clarify it. But one of the things that I believe happens in our lives, in our minds, in our hearts, is we have created a theology of God that really only sees one side of Him, and we can't even begin to fathom the other side. Here's what I'm talking about. God is a God of grace. He's a God of love. He's a God of mercy, and He's a God of forgiveness. And He is all of those things. He is absolutely every one of those things. But we have built those things up so big in our lives that there is no room for another side of God. There is no room for a God who also will discipline you. We don't have any room for that. We can't, our minds can't fathom. In fact, oftentimes, if you were to come in here and you were to be telling me, listen, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on, this is what happened before, and I were to say to you, well, you know what, God is just disciplining you. You would never come back and talk to me ever again, more than likely. You would tell me I was wrong, what happened to grace, what happened to love, what happened to forgiveness. But let me tell you something, God's discipline is just as biblical as God's grace and God's love and God's forgiveness. My father's about to be 90 years old, by the way. He's doing pretty good too, by the way. But so listen, my father was he was a disciplinarian when we were young, and as I was growing up, and a strong disciplinarian. And I got to tell you that when I was like 16, 17, 18, yeah, I didn't like my father. I didn't like him at all. But through the years, through his discipline, I learned how to honor my father. And as I finally came to a place in my life where I could honor my father, you know what happened then? My father began to bless me. And when I honored my father and he began to bless me, our relationship grew. And I hope he thinks the same, that we have a great relationship now. And I love my father and I love him dearly. Well, the same is true with God. God has to discipline us so that we can learn how to be obedient, so that we can learn how to honor him. And if he doesn't, and when he disciplines us, and when we finally come to the place where we can learn how to honor him, then God begins to bless us. Once we're honoring him and he's blessing us, the relationship with God blossoms and flourishes. We need to understand that there is a biblical uh, teaching that God disciplines those who belong to him. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 9, the writer of Hebrews says this: We have had human fathers who corrected us, and we paid them respect. Shall we not much more readily be in subjection to the Father of spirits and live? If we allowed the correction of our earthly fathers to shape us, to mold us, to lay a foundation under us so that we could learn how to obey and honor them, he says, how much more should we be submitting and surrendering ourselves to the correction of the Father who lives in heaven so that we can honor him and we can receive his blessing? Think about that. Get out there in faith today. Love you guys.